What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Classic Octane. I am Taylor. Today we are working on this CB550 project. As you can see, I've already done some modifications to the frame, basically just cutting off all the passenger rear foot pegs and the kind of seat mounts and the stuff that we're not going to be utilizing. Starting to smooth it all out, but I'm to the point where I need to put a frame hoop on. You guys have seen me do this a dozen times, and I do have a video specifically how to do it, but just to kind of keep you guys in the loop with what's going on. I need to do an upswept frame hoop on this, which proves to be a little bit difficult because my bender is not capable of bending one. So we'll kind of mess around and see what the best option is to be able to do that. And then I actually need to make just a standard 180-degree bend for this bike, which is going to be the next project. So I'm going to go ahead and get my bender all set up. I got to shuffle it over and bolt it into the floor, and we'll get to bending. So I actually already have some hoops made up that I forgot about, but since I went through the trouble of bolting this thing up, I kind of wanted to show you guys how it works because I don't think I've ever showed it on the channel before. So this is a Bailey tubing bender that I got, I don't even know, a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that. It's okay. I would probably get like a JD squared type 3 if I were to do it again. Just because the design of this one, although it seems kind of cool how it works, it actually limits some of the bends that you can make, because I can't actually bend. I need that upswept hoop, and I cannot bend an upsweep and a hoop with this style bender because this huge plate is in the way. So you can't like bend it and then bend it at a compound angle because of how big this thing is. But I figured I'd show you just kind of a standard 180-degree hoop. So this is 1-inch tubing. I believe it's 0.95 wall thickness, which is probably overkill for these. But I got it in here, got it all lined up, and now I just use a jack handle because I don't have a proper handle for this thing. Because I did buy it second hand and it didn't come with one. I can just start to crank it. Back. Change the angle a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. And now I need to actually bend it past, there's a degree wheel on this side, it's a little pointer, and I actually need to bend it past 180 degrees to compensate for the spring back. So this wall thickness, I think about 185, we'll call it 188. Let's see how that looks. I'm gonna go 190. Right there. I'm gonna release this. Now we should be able to twist this a little bit. And there it is. 180-degree bend. Not bad, not bad. Figure I'll show you on this tough side seat. It's just the flat seats that I always run. And then you can see that it matches kind of perfectly inside of there. So not too bad. So we can use this one for this bike or whatever, just kind of, I like having a couple of them in stock since this thing's kind of a pain to pull out. But let me show you the little bit of trickery we're gonna have to do to get that upsweep one done. So here's what I'm thinking on this upswept one. So I kind of got this mocked up into place. The rear part chopped off. Again, I've shown this a bunch of times. To our exposed frame rails. we slide our seat where it's going to be. And then I have this little section of a 180 that's chopped down. That'll sit kind of right along the back part of the seat, tuck in underneath real nice. And then basically what I'm looking to do is connect this to that. So what I am thinking is utilizing some of my other bends, like this one is not quite 180. I think I was just messing around with something, and cut it basically here and then at the right angle to match up with that part, and then I can weld it all together and it'll look like one seamless pipe when it's all done. So that's what I'm gonna start to mess with now. Just kind of Sharpie, get my length right, get a, approximately probably stay a little bit long, chop it, and then I can kind of sneak up on it and grind a little bit until it's matched up perfectly. And we'll move to the other side and do the same thing. Here we are at the finished piece. Finished it all off, sanded it all down, everything's going to be nice and smooth. Once it's painted black, it'll kind of match everything else real nicely. So we can start to kind of lightly tap that in place. That's part of the reason why I keep these metal edges. We'll straighten that before we tack weld it. Tack. It's nice and straight to me. Let that cool for a minute. I'll put the seat back on just to double check everything looks good. We'll finish weld it. Now that the hoop is all welded in, I've kind of started to grind it down, but I'm not worried about the finish just yet because we're still kind of fabricating here. So the next step is to actually remove this center section. Why I haven't removed that yet is I like to wait until the frame hoop is totally installed. That way the actual frame of the bike doesn't kind of spread or kind of move anywhere. It stays exactly, rigid where it's supposed to be. This is now going to hold that rigid, and I can cut out this support. The reason we cut this out is because it's a little bit bulky, and also it doesn't line up with the mounting points for our seat. So if you're not familiar, the bottom side of these tough side seats have threaded holes in them, a total of 6. Kind of 4 in the back here, 2 more in the very front. I rarely use the very front ones. I find that these 4 on the back side are more than sufficient at holding it, and they're easily accessible. So instead of just running a bolt, kind of through a flat bar into this seat, I like to run a stud, and I'll show you guys that when we get to that point a little bit later. That you have the flat bar across here with some holes in it. You can slide the seat over with the stud that pops through the bottom. Then we can use a wing nut underneath. That way you can, should you be riding the bike and a fuse blows or whatever, you need to access the electronics that are going to be in this box. You're not required to have a tool on hand to be able to pull a bolt out. You can just reach underneath, undo the wing nuts with your hands, pull the seats off, you know, in that way you're not totally stranded just because you don't happen to have a, you know, 13mm wrench while you're out riding. So that's why I always do it that way. Long story short, let's go ahead and cut this intersection out, and then we'll have our 2 pieces of flat bar that we can weld in to mount our seat. Went ahead and knocked out the bars. So like I mentioned, it's 2 pieces of flat bar, holes through, and then I take, it's 5/16 18 is the thread. So what I do is just buy a big length of all thread, cut it down into 1.5 pieces, screw them into the bottom of the seat, just like that. So we now have 4 studs to match our 4 holes. So I can put the seat on here, line up the holes, push it down, and then we can do those wing nuts from underneath. You can see how it sucks the seat down nicely to match the frame. That's why these seats are designed to bend, like I mentioned earlier. And that's it. And that's plenty of mounting. 4 full studs through, thick flat bar. I mean, that seat can't twist, can't rotate, and then obviously where the majority of your weight is directly over where those mounting kind of bars are. So these are plenty strong. I've got bikes run around all over the country with this setup with no issues to report. Now that the seat mounts are done, I'm ready to move on to our brake light. So we're going to be using one of these little LED strips I've used in a bunch of different bikes, but instead of just sticking it on the outside here, we want to actually section a piece of this tube out and have the LED strip actually be inside the hoop itself. So how to do that is basically I put my seat back on here and I push it down all the way, make a Sharpie mark about exactly where the bottom of the seat is. That way I know I don't want my LEDs to be any higher than that, otherwise they'll be obstructed by the back of the seat. So we know we want them to be, you know, roughly the LEDs to be right basically at or below that line, and that'll be a nice strip of lights directly under the back side of the seat. Should look pretty clean. We also don't want this thing, you know, way on the bottom side of the tube. As close to center as possible is ideal. So what I need to do now is find the center of this tube, and then I need to measure my total length, basically from the outside edge of that light all the way to the outside edge of this one, and that'll be the total length of our opening. We'll have, you know, 1/4 or 1/2 inch on each side. That'll be kind of tucked inside of it. We also don't want the opening to be the full size of this. We only really want the opening to be, you know, maybe 3/4 of the size of this thing. The idea is we can kind of snake it in there, and I'll show you what we do when we get to that point, but we don't want this thing to be able to come out super easily. Try to give you a little bit better idea of what we're looking at. So here's my center line. It's actually kind of just to the left of my Sharpie mark right there. And then I want my total opening to be 6 1/4 inches long. So what I did is just take my caliper, go 3 1/8 inches from the center line, make a little scribe, if you can see it. Same thing on this side, make a little scribe. And then I made a punch mark, you can see right at the end of my finger right there, and another one right here. So that's actually going to be the center of where our hole is. So I'm just going to take a small drill bit, drill a hole right there, and then I need to measure exactly how wide I want this opening to be. I'm thinking we're gonna want a little bit more than 1/4 inch, maybe somewhere in the, I don't know, I'll have to mess with it because the total, it's a little over 1/2 inch for the whole thing, so I'll probably go somewhere in the like 3/8 range as far as the overall kind of width of my opening. But right now I'm going to drill those 2 holes, and then we'll go and find a drill bit that's probably 3/8 or close to it. We'll open those up to that size, and then I'll show you that we're going to take our little cutoff wheel and run it across here and get a nice straight cut. Got our 3/8 holes drilled on either side, and what I did is just took my caliper, set it to 3/8 and just kind of drug it along to get ourselves a nice even 3/8 line on both sides. And then I just hit that line with the Sharpie so I can see it a little bit better. I will take the cutoff wheel now, cut just above and below that line to give us a little bit of room to just, we want to basically file it into place so we have a nice straight line. I'm not going to try to go straight to the line with the cutoff wheel because that you know, can cause some issues if we get a little bit off the path. So let me grab the cutoff wheel now. We'll grab a fresh one so it's, you know, going to give us the best possible cut. We'll trim this out. Opening is all done. It's basically a 3-step operation, or at least how I do it. Drill the outside holes, use an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel to get the rough opening, and then I use my little pneumatic die grinder with like a 3-inch sanding disc on it to get in here and just lightly file each side until it's a nice perfect opening. We kind of sneak up on that line, make sure we don't go too far any direction, and turned out pretty nice. You can see when we fit the seat on here, and we press it down, the opening is just below that bottom lip, which is exactly where we wanted it. It means all of our LEDs are going to be visible. The next step in this operation is actually going to be painting the frame, which I'm going to do kind of off camera because it's pretty boring. You guys have seen me do that a bunch of times. I use the VHT satin roll bar and chassis paint that I use for every single build. It's this guy right here. I'll throw a link in the description if you're curious. But I wanted to kind of give you guys a quick rundown of how the LED strip is actually going to be mounted in this opening. There's probably 100 different ways you can do this. I've seen people drill like a couple small holes in the back and use expanding foam to get the same result, but what I've had good luck with is I use the packing foam that comes in the lithium-ion batteries. Both anti-gravity and Shore-Eye batteries come with this same foam. It's high density, so it's got like a nice kind of thick feel to it, but it does have some adhesive on the back. Cut some strips of that, stick it on the inside of the frame hoop. That will then allow you to kind of stick in and wedge the LED strip through the opening and kind of compress against that foam. That foam will then push back and press this nice and evenly all the way across the opening. That's why we made this opening smaller than the entire light itself, because we want it to basically have a surface to catch it from coming all the way out. You know, we don't want this thing popping out while we're riding or anything, but this also allows us to service this. Should this fail in the future, you know, a year or two down the road, a couple of these LEDs burn out for whatever reason, this will be removable, as opposed to if you actually like epoxied this in, it would be very difficult to get out. So the idea is this is, you know, somewhat tricky to install, but once it's installed, you know, you're not gonna have to mess with it unless you need to, if that makes sense. We're also gonna drill a little bit of a hole right through here for the wiring harness to come out. So the wire will run through the tube out right here and into our electronics box. So there'll be no exposed wires or anything on the outside. Should be a nice clean install. I will show you guys that when we get around to it. I'm not going to do that yet because we need to do a little bit more modification for our battery box. We're going to need some mounting holes right through here, another mounting hole or two right up here, and then we need to paint everything. So all of that's going to need to be done before we do the kind of final install of the light. Well, that's where I'm going to call it on this one, guys. If you have any questions about anything that I did to the bike in this video, feel free to drop a comment below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you're into this kind of content, I would encourage you to do so. I would appreciate it, and it'll kind of keep you up to date on everything going on with this build and then a bunch of other builds and stuff we have coming in the near future. I want to give a quick shout out to everybody that's been buying shirts and hats and all that kind of stuff from my site. I do appreciate it. That support goes a long way to kind of helping the channel grow. This weekend I'm going to be probably digging into some more projects on the Camaro, and then we'll be right back to building more bikes next week, and I'll try to make as many videos as I can. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you soon.